Welcome to the Saul's Newsstand News Review for February 1st, 2019. The Washington Examiner is reporting Kamala Harris's Medicare for All would mean massive disruption for health care, and the industry is prepared to fight it. Democratic presidential contender Senator Kamala Harris wants to move on from the current health care system in favor of a plan that would roll everyone in the U.S. onto a government plan known as Medicare for All, doing away with private health insurance. As the California Democrat and others in her party make their case, however, they will face considerable opposition not only from the insurance industry, but from across the healthcare sector, which would see massive upheaval from the plan. And polling suggests that the public, roughly half of which relies on private insurance, isn't quite on board. Drug companies, insurers, doctors, and hospitals have united in recent months to fight national government health care. One healthcare industry group called the Partnership for America's Healthcare Future has launched a 5-figure digital ad campaign arguing that Medicare for All would cause massive disruption, higher taxes, lower quality care, and less choice for patients. It plans to spend 6 figures bashing Medicare for All over the course of 2019. Other candidates for the Democratic nomination, such as Senators Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts and Kirsten Gillibrand of New York, are, like Harris, co-sponsors of the Medicare for All Act, legislation led by Senator Bernie Sanders, an independent from Vermont. Although it has Medicare in the name, the bill would go much further than current Medicare, which covers adults 65 and older and people with disabilities. It would pay for emergency surgery, prescription drugs, mental health care, and eye care without a copay. The Medicare for All Act has not been scored by the Congressional Budget Office, but analysis from the Mercatus Center at George Mason University and the left-leaning Urban Institute found it would raise government spending over a decade by $32.6 trillion. Newsmax reports Senator Thune introduces bill to repeal estate tax. Senate Republican leaders want to eliminate the federal estate tax for good, as it represents double taxation and takes hard-earned money from families who want to pass their earnings on to future generations. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2018 doubled the estate tax exemption to $11.2 million, $22.4 million per couple. But the exception is scheduled to expire after 2025. The top statutory rate remains at 40%. In a news release after introducing legislation to repeal the tax Monday, Senator John Thune, a Republican from South Dakota, said, "Oftentimes, family-owned farms and ranches bear the brunt of this tax, which threatens families' agricultural legacies and makes it difficult and costly to pass these businesses down to future generations. This way of life is integral to so many South Dakota families, which is why I remain committed to removing roadblocks for these family businesses, and we can start by repealing the death tax once and for all." Senator Chuck Grassley, a Republican from Iowa, who co-sponsored Thune's bill with Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, a Republican from Kentucky, had this to say regarding the legislation. "The estate tax doesn't serve any purpose except forcing family farms and family-run businesses to waste precious capital on costly tax planning and, in too many cases, paying taxes on income or property that have already been taxed once." And finally, Philly.com reports, Bill Gates sells nuclear power as the only viable alternative energy source to slow climate change. Recently, Gates visited some key members of Congress. This time, he was talking about what he sees as a key part of the answer for combating climate change: a return to nuclear power. And the Microsoft co-founder was trying to persuade Congress to spend billions of dollars over the next decade for pilot projects that would test 2 or 3 new designs for nuclear power reactors. Gates has been thinking about nuclear power for a while. He founded TerraPower in 2006, and during his recent visits to Capitol Hill, he told lawmakers that he personally would invest $1 billion and raise $1 billion more in private capital to go along with federal funds for a pilot of his company's never-before-used technology, according to congressional staffers. Nuclear is ideal for dealing with climate change because it is the only carbon-free, scalable energy source that's available 24 hours a day, Gates said in his year-end public letter. The problems with today's reactors, such as the risk of accidents, can be solved through innovation. Gates is a believer in tapping innovation on the climate front. He has invested heavily in other nascent technologies, much of it related to energy storage, in search of the sort of breakthrough he hopes will slow global warming. And Gates also gave $1 million to the campaign to approve a ballot initiative for a carbon fee in the state of Washington. The effort failed, but he has warned that a focus on solar and wind would be dangerous. And that concludes your Saul's Newsstand News Review for February 1st, 2019. For more political news faster, visit saulsnews.com.